Hi, Relaxed Recaps here. Today, I'm going to talk about the 2005 adventure movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy. Charlie Bucket comes from a poor family who lives happily together in a wretched hut. One evening, as the Buckets gather around for dinner, Charlie's father arrives from work and offers Charlie a handful of toothpaste caps to help him finish a model of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Hearing about Willy Wonka the chocolatier, Grandpa Joe, who used to work for him, narrates his story. Willy Wonka started a candy business with a single store on Cherry Street. He also invented a way of making chocolate ice cream that would stay cold for hours without a freezer, even under the hot sun without melting. Willy Wonka later built the largest chocolate factory in history, which was 50 times as big as any other factory in the world. Soon, he dismisses his workers and closes his factory for a long time after discovering that his competitors are sending in spies to steal his recipes. And when he seems to be back in business, he never employs any more workers and leaves this as a mystery to the entire world. Charlie is confused after the narration about the mystery as he goes to bed. He doesn't understand how Willy Wonka possibly runs the machines at his factory. I think maybe robots. That night, Willy Wonka has already brought up an adventure idea to the world. He gives just 5 children in the entire world an opportunity to visit his factory, but promises to give only one of them a special prize. He puts 5 golden tickets in 5 Wonka chocolate bars and distributes them to random locations around the world. After Willy Wonka announces his contest, people start ravaging stores selling Wonka chocolate bars in different districts of the world. Everybody would surely die to visit such a mysterious place. As for Charlie and his family, they can't afford more than 1 Wonka bar per year, only for his birthday. So Grandma Georgina encourages him to get one since his birthday is near, but Grandpa George discourages him because he believes that he doesn't have a chance among kids who purchase more than 2 chocolate bars per day. George then predicts that the first kid to find one of the golden tickets would be fat. His prediction comes true when a fat boy in Düsseldorf, Germany, named Augustus Gloop finds the first ticket after eating more than 10 candy bars daily. His name, Gloop, befits him well enough. Next, an arrogant girl, VERUCA Salt, a resident of Buckinghamshire, England, finds the second ticket after her wealthy father bought hundreds of thousands of Wonka bars and instructed his employees to unwrap them for days. Charlie really doesn't stand a chance. When Charlie sees this in the news, he feels cheated. VERUCA Salt didn't find the ticket herself, and that's unfair. Soon, his parents arrive home with his birthday present, which is expectedly a Wonka chocolate bar. He opens it with much encouragement from his parents and grandparents, who also comfort him in case he doesn't find a golden ticket. As Charlie opens it very slowly, he feels anxious to know whether or not he'll find one, including every other member of his family. He opens it, lo and behold, he discovers an empty chocolate bar. He doesn't bother himself much and begins to share the bar with his family members. The next morning, the Buckets read the news and discover that Miss Violet Beauregard in Atlanta, Georgia, a karate kid who has won 263 trophies and medals, has found the 3rd ticket. The 4th ticket has also been found in Denver, Colorado by a boy named Mike TEAVEE. This kid, who doesn't enjoy chocolate but wants to be one of the few kids who would be visiting the Wonka chocolate factory, hacks into the Wonka's system and buys a golden ticket chocolate bar directly. Ugh, why do I feel for Charlie this much? All that's left to fight for is a single golden ticket, the 5th and last one. Seeing this, Charlie's family becomes worried. Their predicament worsens after Charlie's father is dismissed from work when the toothpaste factory where he works replaces him with a robot. Soon, Grandpa Joe calls Charlie over and gives him his last coin to get the first Wonka bar he finds from the first store he sees. After buying the chocolate bar, they both open it with their eyes shut. And, of course, they find only a candy bar, just like the first time. Charlie goes out the next day and overhears a discussion concerning the last golden ticket. They say it's been found by a boy in Russia. On his way back home, he finds a $10 bill in the snow and hopefully rushes to a nearby store to purchase a Wonka bar. Just then, a lady announces that the Russian boy's ticket was a fake. Charlie unwraps his Wonka bar and is shocked to realize that he has just bought the 5th and last golden ticket. Some people try to buy it from him, but the shop owner prevents them and warns him not to trade it regardless and tells him to run home. Then, Grandpa Joe is selected to go with Charlie since he knows more about the factory than anyone else. Charlie, who seems to have been convinced by the people who offered him some money for the ticket, plans to sell the golden ticket to help his family. Grandpa George, however, calls him over and convinces him to see the ticket as having more value than money. The next morning, they stand and wait for the factory gates to open. VERUCA Salt orders her dad to make her entry quick. Charlie wonders if Wonka will remember Grandpa Joe, and Violet's mother urges Violet to keep her eyes on the prize. The gates open, and Willy Wonka gives them a stunning welcome. While they watch the welcome ceremony, they fail to realize it when Wonka joins them and acts as if he's one of them. They can obviously tell from his expression that he's been socially withdrawn for a very long time. Once they're inside the factory, the kids start to introduce themselves, even when Wonka doesn't seem to care, except for Mike and Charlie. Wonka recognizes Mike as the kid who cracked the system, and realizes that Charlie must have been just some lucky kid since he wasn't announced in the news. As the tour begins, Wonka takes them to a mysterious room with a small door. The room looks like a garden with a waterfall of chocolate. Wonka says the small door helps to keep all the chocolatey flavor in, and the waterfall is how he mixes his quality chocolate to make it light and frothy. Then, he asks them to eat anything they wish from the garden. Mike goes ahead, destroying everything in his path. Also, Violet bullies Charlie by collecting fruit from him and calling him a loser. Soon, they see some small humans called Oompa Loompas. Wonka says that he met them when he went to Loompa Land looking for exotic new flavors for candy. But since cocoa beans are what the Oompa Loompas love the most, which is what chocolate is made from, Wonka asked them to come work at his factory and get all the cocoa beans they want. Unknown to any one of them that the first elimination round is now, greedy Augustus, busy drinking from the chocolate river, suddenly slips and is sucked in by one of the pipes into the fudge room. He's then eliminated from the rest of the tour. Then, they ride on a candy boat over the chocolate river. Here is where Wonka remembers his childhood, days after a very long time. He was the son of the city's most famous dentist, Wilbur Wonka, who forbade him from eating candy because of the dental effects. This causes Wonka to run away from the house, after which he opened his first candy shop on Cherry Street. The candy boat stops at the inventing room, which Wonka calls the most important room in the entire factory. He makes a 3-course meal chewing gum from an inventing machine and offers it to Violet with a warning not to eat. Being an ardent gum chewer, Violet ignores Wonka. She chews and unfortunately swells into a blueberry. Then, Willy instructs the Oompa Loompas to take her to the juicing room to be squeezed back to normal. Now, he takes the rest to the nut sorting room. Wonka opens the room and they're surprised to find that he uses squirrels for cracking and sorting nuts because he says the squirrels are specially trained. They're trained in a way that they can always get all the nuts out every single day and can even know a bad nut before cracking it. VERUCA, who already has enough pets for a year, sees this and demands a trained squirrel from her dad. Since Wonka won't agree to sell any of his squirrels, VERUCA walks down the hall to go pick up one of the squirrels herself. In turn, the squirrels launch at her and pin her down to see if she's a bad nut. So, since she's bad, the squirrels toss her into the chute where all bad nuts go. Her dad goes to help her, but he drops into the chute too. Then, Wonka takes the rest to an elevator which can go in every direction. He takes them around the entire facility in the elevator before Mike, who likes video games, becomes bored and suggests the television room. This room is where Wonka is working on his latest invention using television science. He wants to start sending candy bars through the air the same way television sends signals. Mike tries to clarify how impossible it is because of the huge variation in waves and particles. Wonka disregards him and shows them the experiment. After he's sent the chocolate bar off, he then takes them to the television and asks Mike to grab the bar, which is already smaller, 80% smaller. Wonka asks Charlie instead, and he grabs the bar. When Mike realizes that Wonka has just invented a teleporter and doesn't realize it, he calls him an idiot and runs to the device to teleport himself. Then he disappears, only to appear on a TV as a smaller boy. His dad picks him up and asks Willy what to do. Wonka orders that Mike should be taken to the taffy puller and stretched out. Wonka is surprised to see that Charlie is the only one left and asks him what happened to the others. He says it means that Charlie is won, so he presses the elevator button that says up and out, leaving Grandpa Joe and Charlie to marvel. The elevator goes upwards very speedily and breaks through the top of the factory, where it ends up going into the clouds, then falls back to Earth and begins to fly. In the meantime, the other participants are already taken care of, and they start leaving the factory. Augustus comes out gloopy. Violet has been compressed but remains Violet. VERUCA sees the flying elevator and demands one from her father, who refuses her this time. And last but not least, Mike comes out taller but flattened. Wonka takes Charlie home in the flying elevator, breaking in from above. Then he announces a special prize to his family. Wonka wants to make Charlie the heir to his chocolate factory as a result of his pureness, unlike the other 4 children. Now, the consequence is that Charlie will have to live with him and never see his family again. Upon hearing this, Charlie refuses to go because he says he cannot leave his family. Wonka leaves when he realizes that Charlie won't change his mind. Charlie's family, however, gets better when Charlie's father gets a better job at the toothpaste factory, repairing the same machines that replaced him, while Wonka doesn't know which chocolate flavors to make anymore and loses sales. One day, Wonka comes to see Charlie for some advice on his business. Somehow, their subject changes and Charlie influences him with his parents' love, which is why they prevent their children from doing some things. Then takes him back home to reconcile with his father, helping him to see that his father didn't want him to eat candy because he loved him. When Wonka's father sees him, he embraces him passionately. In the end, Charlie earns the chocolate factory on the condition that his family lives with him. Subscribe to Relaxed Recaps for more content like this. Until next time.